Take two. Take two. Yeah. Hey, welcome to Music Podcast. We're on air with your host, Angelique, Valentine Diva Everett. I've got a special guest on air with me and a wonderful friend and staff, Mr. Tyrone Dixon. Hey, Ty.
Hi, superstar. Thank you for having me on the show. And I was in the midst of saying I gotta throw it out there before people get confused that my nickname for you is Superstar. So, in that reference, just so people aren't confused, you are very much a superstar, as I share with you all the time.
Well, that's all right. I always say that even sometimes my uncle be saying that. You're the star of the family. Yes, I know.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
He is a life coach, relationship coach, which I cannot get over that, dating coach, matchmaker, which we're going to be getting into that as well too, in a little more detail, mentor, and an author. Hey, Ty, so glad to have you on my podcast. It's been a while.
Yes, it's been a long time. How have you been?
Been doing pretty good.
Nice. I heard you got a second book coming out.
Yes, which I'm going to actually tell you a little bit more detail about that actually in my shout out. So
nice.
I kind of got to spice it up a little bit and kind of draw it out there.
Mm-hmm. So awesome stuff.
I get to brag about it. So
yeah, you got to, girl.
Including Jim. Jim was like, you gotta brag about it because we are very excited. So I got to sit down and work on it.
Yes, it's a big deal. A huge deal.
All right, so tell me about Tyrone.
A little bit about me. Let's see. Man, I'm getting older now, so all of these stories are getting longer and longer. I do work in the arena of life as well as relationship coach. In addition, I would have to say that my most important role is fatherhood. I have a 5-year-old daughter and a 3-year-old daughter who I absolutely adore. I started my foundation now 7 years ago. The name of the foundation is consulting company. It's called a Roast Through Concrete Consulting. So when I originally started my journey on coaching, it's centered around life coaching. I quickly found that a lot of the clients that I had early on had issues to deal with their relationship. So some part of their relationship or the relationships that they had in their lives was impacting their quality of life. So I shifted into doing relationship coaching, and I'd say for the past 5 years or so, that's what I've been doing primarily, just helping people be able to navigate the different dynamics within a relationship and be able to come to a healthy compromise.
Well, that's good. I always see a TikTok video sometimes, and I'm on TikTok, so I'm like, ooh, okay, what?
Yeah, I'm still getting used to TikTok, man. I gotta figure out how I want to present myself on TikTok because I don't want to. I try to vary myself depending upon the different social media platforms. So I'm figuring out, still in that space where I'm trying to figure out what I want to present on TikTok.
I agree about that. I'm still kind of new to it myself, so
there's so many social media platforms. So it's like, wow.
I haven't been in it that much. It's because I'm trying to kind of stay away from social media, so at least a little bit anyways.
I hear that.
Yeah. Okay, how did you? Which I cannot get over that you are a matchmaker. But how did you become a matchmaker? And do you have, well, I'm just going to go into asking you this question first before I go into the other question. So how did you become a matchmaker?
I think that with the matchmaker piece, that was a branch off the umbrella of relationship coaching. So I look at it kind of like subcategories. There's the main thing, which is the relationship stuff, right? We all have some type of relationship discovery that we can have, right? To either deepen our relationship, to build relationships, to strengthen relationship. But intertwined within that relationship piece, there's the dating, there's the courting, there's the matchmaking piece. So I I look at it like it's just an extension of the relationship coaching that I do. When I do matchmaking, it's about being on the front end, right? So when you get to the dating stage, because I did dating coaching prior to doing matchmaking, but I needed to figure out how to get to someone before they got to the point of dating, so they knew exactly what to look for in terms of someone to date. So that's how I got involved in matchmaking, and I think that it's been very interesting. It's been a very interesting journey in trying to match people with essentially their life partners.
Okay, well, that's cool. Now here's the other part of that question. And do you have any tips for people that are looking for their special someone?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I can say in that regard is make sure that you are prepared to do everything that you're expecting from your special someone, whoever that person is, right? So if you expect them to be respectful, make sure you're being respectful. If you expect them to communicate effectively, make sure you learn the tools to be able to communicate effectively within yourself. So that way you don't have an expectation for your partner that you don't have for yourself. Because a lot of times when I'm coaching clients, when I'm working with clients, they have this expectation for this partner to come into their lives and be this like unique person, but they don't have the skill set to be a unique person to that partner as well.
Okay. Well, I don't know why I wanted to ask a question, but I figured, since you are a matchmaker and a dating coach, I'm like, I'm going to ask this question. Okay, where am I? Oh, here we go. Okay, here we go. Well, we always say about the tips. Do you have any? Are there any qualities that we need to? Are there any qualities? Okay, I'm trying to see what I'm doing this. What's the question? Well, I still have. Do you have any tips for people that are looking for that special someone? I've asked that question. Are there any qualities that we need to look for?
I think that's specific to the individual, right? It depends upon what you want, right? It's all about what you want out of someone else. So I think I don't say, I'm not the person that says, oh, you need to look for this in a person and this in a person. It really is dependent upon you. So what I do typically, superstars, I'll say create a non-negotiable list, right? And that's a list of things that you absolutely will not deal with or will not tolerate within a relationship. And then once you create your non-negotiable list, you can then invite the type of relationships you want in your life based off of that. So that would be the biggest thing. Create a non-negotiable list up front, detailing exactly what you don't want in a relationship. And then as you engage with people and you start to date, you can put them up against your non-negotiable list to see if they really would be somebody that you can spend the rest of your life with.
Oh, okay. Now, when you say non-negotiable list, what do you mean non-negotiable?
Right. So it's just a list of things that you won't tolerate in a relationship, right? So it's things that are not negotiable. It's not something that you're going to compromise on. So it's almost, for example, if I say I don't want someone to be in a relationship with someone who swears, right, and then I'm dating someone and they can't stop swearing or they can't stop cussing, then naturally that's probably not someone that you'll have a lasting relationship with, because they do something that's on your non-negotiable list.
That's a good thing to know. I kind of actually was reading about that before, so yeah. All right, so that's a good thing to know. I would definitely put that on the list, all right? How did you know that your wife was the one for you before you popped the question?
That's actually a really good question.
Thank you.
Did I? Did I? Yeah, you got me on that one. I don't think I've ever been asked that question publicly, to be honest.
Well,
No,
it just popped in my head. I'm like, well, he is a
no,
dude.
you got me. You
I
got me
got to
stumped
answer
on
the
that question.
question.
You got me. I would say that they're like, and I share this with my wife all the time. But one of the things that I really that made me gravitate to my wife was just her selflessness. So her willingness to do things and sacrifice in ways that I had not seen before. So that made me attracted to her. And then as we started dating, as we started to get to know each other more, I just picked up on things like her compassion, how she was caring, how she cared for her parents and her family, and how she just was so gracious with them and gracious with me too. And I think for me that was such, I had not experienced that before, and it was so new that it made me curious. And then because I was curious, I kept seeking and wanting to know her a little more. And the more I got to know her, the closer we connected and the closer we became, to the point where I remember till this day the time in which I'm like, okay, I'm gonna marry this woman. And I was doing something, and she basically predicted exactly what I was gonna do. She was like, "Oh, you're going to do this, or you're gonna do that," and I'm like, "No, I'm not." And then she's like, "Well," if you wasn't gonna do this, you were gonna do that. And in my head, I'm like, "Oh shoot!" Like, dang, I really was gonna do that. And it was one of those things. And I know that people say when you know, but it was one of those moments for me, like, oh yeah, this is it for me. Like, this is probably the woman that I'm gonna spend the rest of my life with.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a good thing to know. Like I said, for some reason, this popped in my head, and I had a conversation with Jim about it as well too. And because I actually kind of asked him some questions, so I'm like, well, that'd be actually a good question to ask Tyrone. So
Yeah, good question. That is a good one, especially to ask a husband, because we don't tend to think about stuff like that a lot.
well, I don't know why it came to me. I guess, me doing the whole, and it popped in my head. I'm like, I'm going to ask this question.
Yeah,
So,
that's a great question. It's the first time I've ever been asked that, so you got an exclusive there.
woo! But that's really nice and sweet. So, which in the ending part, I will tell you who I've been, talking to. So, how is it like being, which I did not know you were an author. So, congratulations.
Thank you.
So an author from another author. Okay. How is it like being an author, and what are you writing?
My first book was actually, it was a guided journal, and it was geared towards men. So the title of it is "Who Did You Become Over the Years?" A guided journal for men. And for me, I just wanted to, when I first started working, one of the things that I wanted to make a push for, which I can definitely do better at now that I think about it and say it out loud, is to really like equip men with tools to be able to be self-reflective, emotionally intelligent, self-aware, just have those skill sets. So what I did was I created that guided journal to again be able to have them reflect on some of their own areas of expertise, areas of strength, and then also identify areas of weakness that they can improve upon to basically create a better whole individual. So that was that. I'm actually, it's so funny we were even talking about books, because I'm actually going to start working on another one soon. I can't reveal the title or information yet, but I'm going to start working on my second book soon too.
Say what? What's this one?
I can't share any information about it just yet, but it's going to be a little. I'll share that it's going to be a little. It's going to be a little different from the original. It's going to have a little twist to it, but I think ultimately it'll be good. Hopefully, fingers crossed, it'll be out in 2024 sometime.
Ooh. So, I guess are you thinking about writing a book on like relationships and stuff like that?
Actually, it's not gonna be on relationships. No, I've been getting a lot of people asking me that. I think what I'm gonna do in terms of relationship, because it gets to, I think when you start talking about relationships, once you start talking too much, you lose people. So I want to write something very clear cut, maybe like a blog post or a series of articles on relationships that people can easily digest, as opposed to a whole book.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess I guess I should have said dating technically, not relationships. I even said that myself. Well, I guess I'm just gonna go back and see this one question about how did you know that your wife was the one? I guess the reason why I asked that question was because I kind of been doing the whole dating thing, as you already know.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of met someone a couple of weeks ago.
Okay. Ooh, superstar.
Yeah. His name is Mike. He's really nice and sweet. I just found out we had talked August 15th.
Nice.
And we've been talking for like it was like 5 days, and then it was like after we started talking for like the 5th day, he basically asked me out. Like,
nice.
Off the bat.
Nice. That's a good start.
I'm like, I got to thinking about, I'm like, I don't know if I guess I should kind of wait, but then I'm like, well, how about, I'm booked this month, so how about next month we do something, so.
Mm-hmm. That sounds like a plan. That sounds like a good idea. I always give the advice of taking it slow. There's no need to rush it when it comes to relationships. You rather do it the right way than the quick way, is what I said.
Well, I felt like he was going a little too fast because according to his profile, it said that he's really looking for something casual, but also long term as well. And I told him, I'm like, well, at the moment, I'm not really looking for long term, so slow down for me. That's kind of what I told him. So, but he agreed. So,
I think that's a fair request. You always want to make sure that you're moving at your pace whenever you're dealing in a relationship, because you want to make sure it's comfortable for you.
And I thought I put you in another room to actually say that is because I haven't really told Grandma yet. So nothing serious now. So
your secret safe with me.
The right one, technically. So. But yeah, and speaking, good thing I'm on that subject. Even though this dude is really nice and sweet, there are other dudes that are starting to kind of like me too, though. So, is it all right for me to talk to other dudes besides him, or?
I think you want to be careful with stuff like that because things can get misconstrued. Mm-hmm. I'd say yes, it's okay as long as everyone's on the same page, right? So the conversation that I would encourage a client. So for example, if you were my client, the thing that I would encourage you to do, superstar, is make sure everyone is clear and everyone's on the same page with that type of arrangement, right? So he knows that you are having interactions or you're talking to other gentlemen. You know where he stands with that. And then the other gentlemen know too. So if you are talking to other gentlemen, you let them know, hey, you're not the only guy that I'm entertaining, or you're not the only gentleman that has my attention right now. I think where people mess up with stuff like that is they're not upfront and they're not honest about it. And because they're not honest about it, think down the line things can be misunderstood.
Well, I usually be honest with the person. So yeah. I say, like when they get to know, when they get to know the guy, kind of, tell them, well, you're not the only one that I kind of been talking to, so.
Right.
And then I would go, sometimes I would say, well, I have been in a relationship before, but that's in the past. And I'm not even, You don't even have to worry about that. So, but yes, I was thinking about setting up something with the dude. So for next month, going to do coffee because he likes coffee. So
Yeah, that's always a good date. Coffee, casual, in the space with a lot of people. That's always a good first date.
and I just found out that he actually has two jobs. He actually works at Starbucks. He lives in Williamsville. He works at Starbucks, and he's a Lyft driver as well. So
Busy man.
yeah, when I heard that, I'm like, what? I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah, he's busy.
Oh, wait, where am I at? Oh. I would ask this question already. Why did you want to start your own podcast and why the name?
The podcast came actually as a result of I just felt like at the time I had so much like information, I guess I would say. I don't want to say it's knowledge, but information in my head. And then the podcast actually started around the time of COVID. So I had the time, obviously, I had the space, I had the content within my head. So what I did was I wrote out the first 50 or so episodes of the podcast, and I had them on reserve. But then during the pandemic, I was furloughed. So I was only working, I believe, Monday and Tuesday, and then I had Wednesday through Friday off, and the weekend off, of course. And for me, that gave me the space and opportunity to share. I had reached some success very early on in the podcast, and that was like my motivation and my encouragement to keep moving forward, which I'm very proud of and happy about.
That's good. So what is your most accomplishment for the podcast?
I would say so far, it's probably a toss-up actually between reaching so many different countries, because I've reached, I think the last time I checked is over like 100 different countries. So many different cities and places I've never heard of in my life. Like right now, I was just looking at some of our statistics earlier, and we're ranked 118th. So we're the 118th best podcast in Panama. For me, that's huge because I don't know anybody in Panama. I've never been to Panama a day in my life. So to know that someone in a place that I've never been or never even considered going is listening to me, is taking my advice, is applying my advice is a big deal. But then I would be remiss if I didn't say that I have won a 40 Under 40 award for the Quality of Love podcast as one of the 40 under 40 podcasters in the world, and I think that was super cool too. Like that was a big pat on my back for all the work that I've been doing. So it's a toss up between those two things.
Oh, okay, that's pretty cool. What other question I got? I think that's and why the name of the podcast?
The Quality of Love actually came about from like just me realizing through coaching, through interacting, through having conversations that an individual's quality of love determines their quality of life, right? So what that means is if you have the right people in your corner, you have people in your corner that challenge you in a healthy manner, people in your corner that are healthy and supporting you, excuse me, to achieve your goals, that increases your likelihood of you being successful. Whereas it's the reverse with the opposite, right? When you hang around toxic people, when you are around people who are negative or who try to bring you down or who just are bad spirited, that trickles down into you and that falls upon your spirit as well. So the Quality of Love came about as a combination of those two things, right? Me realizing that if you don't have the right people in your corner, chances are you won't be successful from coaching.
Oh, okay. And I agree with you about surrounding yourself with negative. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing, is trying to stay away from all those negative people and negative stuff, and trying to fill myself with positive people. Positive. surroundings and, you know, do self-care once in a while.
Yes, indeed.
All right. Well, I always have a positive vibe corner in my podcast. So, what is something positive in your life that have been going on with you in general?
And which one? I didn't get that last part.
Oh, let me redo that. What's something positive in your life that have been going on with you in general?
Oh man, I'm always gonna lean on my family. Like I just my daughters are my world. I bring them up all the time. I talk about them all the time because they really are. Like I don't know. I just can't imagine anything that does not have to do with my kids or does not have to do with my wife. So I think right now, just seeing them healthy, seeing them happy, getting them ready for school, which they'll both be in school for the very first time ever. So that'll be a new twist, new journey. So that's it, man. My family's happy, my family's healthy. That's right there. That's as good as it gets to me.
Okay, well that's good. Well, so it's not. Well, I will agree with you about that because my family is my world, and they're always making me feel positive and upbeat. So
that's indeed.
And I got some, and I got caring friends. I actually just I got an event that's coming up, and me, you know, Shanita.
Yep. I remember
she's actually on the planning committee along with me. So
nice.
Yeah. That'll be good. But people ain't. It's the CQL planning committee. So and I actually told her about you because I told her that I was going to interview you for my podcast. And nice. I said, you remember Tyrone? She was like, yeah, I remember him.
Tell her I said hello.
I still got a picture of all three of us still in my phone. So, well, I was wearing the t-shirts that we had made.
Wow.
Now I want to make a shout out. I always have a shout out in my podcast. So I want to make a shout out to myself. Y'all can get. Hold up, I'm gonna redo this. I want to make a special shout out to myself. Y'all can now go to my YouTube channel, which is Angie Everett Show, or go to my website, angieshow.com. And I will, by the way, have business cards for my show as well. QR code, business cards. My friend Alice actually had told me, I think you should have QR code business cards. So I kind of generated, and it's free on Vistaprint. I kind of generate my own little QR code. So for people to kind of, you know, scan with their phone and subscribe to my YouTube channel. So
nice.
And it works now. Before it didn't work, but now it works. So I had to get the direct, and I mean the direct link to it to make sure that it works. So
nice.
And I will be sending that to you too. So
I'll be looking forward to that.
Okay. Now, before I go to anything else about my podcast, now I'm going to talk about my book, my newer book. You already know the theme of my first book, which is bullying. This time, the theme is going to be based on being respectful, respect, manners, and how to be polite to yourself and others.
Nice.
Thank you.
That'll be exciting. Congratulations. I can't wait to see it. I love the Olivia the Bully series, right?
Yes, it is. It's actually, I call it the Olivia the series. So it's going to be multiple books. So, yeah.
Nice.
Probably in the near future, I have my own little comic book with superheroes. So that'll be in the near future.
Nice.
And meanwhile, I just found out that I got 3 different schools that I'll be going to read my book. So I'm kind of happy about that.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah, I kind of met someone that was a former teacher, and she kind of hooked me up with 3 different schools. So for me to go and read my book.
Nice.
Oh, and by the way, I am renaming, now I said it, renaming my podcast again, just to let y'all know, which this time is going to be, instead of Chit Chat, I named it Angelique Chat Podcast for now on. How do you like that name, Angelique Chat?
You got a ring to it. I like it.
Yeah, thank you. I kind of thought that it had a ring to it. Before it was called Chit Chat. I'm like, I kind of miss Chit Chat. And then I had Angelique Podcast because Jim had mentioned, well, how about you just put your name to it because it has a ring to it. And then I thought about Chit Chat, so I kind of missed that. So I said, I'm going to put chat in with my name. So it does have like a little ring to it. So. I had on my dry erase board, so it's like a good tool for me to use. So, all right. Now I got my social media, which is social media. Here you go. You can now use Angelique. Like I said, I renamed my podcast, and I just renamed a couple of social media links as well too. So now you can use Angelique Chat Podcast to like me on Facebook. Also, you can follow me on Instagram at Angelique Chat Podcast. You can also follow me on TikTok as well at Boss Lady E14. I've got an email address, which is chitchat.podcast @gmail.com. This has been another episode of Angelique Podcast. Thanks, Tyrone, for coming out of your busy schedule.
No worries. Thank you for having me. I appreciate you having me.
Nice episode with me.
Nice. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it, superstar.
You're very welcome. You know how to have you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Ninth episode of Angelique Pod with me. Which, like I said, is being renamed the Angelique Chat. So look me up, Angelique Chat, on social media. And I will have a new logo as well too. So check that out as well too. I'm your host, Angelique Everett, and I will holla right back at y'all next time.